Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stringman Guitars. We'll be down in the underground lair soon, but I wanted to show you this little gem. Look what we got here. We got ourselves a Gibson Les Paul player with P90s. Sexy top, satin finish. So welcome to the underground lair here at Stringman Guitars. We've got our P90 Les Paul down here. Gibson feels like it's got like a 60s neck on it. Just to go over it, a couple little things here. If you can see that in the light or not, probably not, maybe. The bridge pickup has a little bit of scuff on it from the pick. And then down here, a little bit of a, I don't know if you could even pick that up in a camera. A little bit of mark there from playing, but otherwise, pretty good condition. A little bit of goop on the neck, but otherwise acceptable. It is a 2018. Okay, so for those of you who have seen the Gibson guitars on online, the Allied Express or whatever, and there's a little bit of a something there by the pickup switch. A couple things to look at for when you're buying a guitar used. Something that you'll find on Gibsons and nowhere else. The overseas fakes. First of all, the Gibson logo is correct, and it's inlaid with mother of pearl. The other thing is the ends of the binding go over the frets, and that is the case with any Gibson that you run into. Well, pretty much every Gibson you run into. That is not a studio model that doesn't have binding. So a Gibson with binding will have the binding overlaying the frets. Further on down here, if you did in the movie, the adjustment posts here will not have the screw, it's just the little small posts. And the intonation saddles are much thinner than on some of the other brands out there, as well as the cheap imports. So that's some of the things to look for whenever you are buying a guitar. You don't know if it's a fake or a real one. Also, the inlays are not going to have any overlap feeling. They're going to be really flush with the wood. They're going to be even with the frets all the way up. And this one is a real Gibsonian. So his issue with it, and I can't show you, but I can play it. It's fretting out. And it's because of a back bow to the neck. When he showed it to me, the first fret wasn't even playing, but now it is playing. But if you're sighting the neck, you definitely can see that it's got a back bow in it. And just for the heck of it, we'll check the relief at the 7th fret with the 12 thousandths, which is the Gibson spec, in the playing position. So you're going to hold it down where the body meets the neck and go to the 7th fret, because you want 12 thousandths there. And let's see if I can get this in the movie. It ain't going in there at all. And it's probably like 6 thousandths, so I'm not even going to bother to measure it. So what we do is take the truss rod off and loosen it, because it was set up over the winter, I guess, when he bought it, and now it's summer with all the humidity and things change, so you've got to adjust the truss rod. You're going to turn the truss rod left about 1/4 of a turn. So stand by and I'll prep that. One of the other best ways to find out if you have a fake is to look down the truss rod hole here, and if you see all kind of glue and gunk in here, it's not a real Gibson. Also, if you don't see the bullet hex shaft that you have to put a truss rod over as opposed to, or a wrench over as opposed to in, also fake, 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 fake. This is real. We're back with the string du jour, the Adagio 9 to 42 Players Circle. That's what you get to do when you hit the big time. So let's see what are on here now. Same strings, set of 9s. Okay, buddy, it looks like I got the right truss rod wrench, 5/16. So we're going to go ahead and loosen this, if I can, make some room. Get out of the way. Always get it on the whole nut, because these have a tendency to loosen off. So I'm going to give it a 1/4 turn and see what happens. When we do that. Okay, we have made so far 3 truss rod changes, and let's see if it's staying where I wanted it. I can live with that. That's right where it should be. It could be a little bit higher, but I'm noticing that, here's my gauge. I'm noticing some buzzing on the 5th through 7th frets across, and then as I get up here, the E, A, and D. So I've done several truss rod changes, and it is sitting right at 12 thousandths of relief, but I'm still getting some buzzing. Let me see where they have the action set. They've got it below 4 thousandths and at 4 thousandths. It needs to be 4 thousandths here and 5 thousandths here. So the bridge has to come up just ever so slightly. But before that happens, we're going to go have some ribs, because doesn't it look like I need them? And we're going to let it sit and let everything settle, since we made a pretty big change to it. How, oh how, do you restring a Les Paul? I know that the Epiphones have that locking clip in the bridge, or the stop bar, but Gibsons don't use that. So how do you do it? Well, you get one of them old-fashioned erasers, the pink erasers, jam it up underneath there so it doesn't go nowhere, and put yourself some tape down. Ain't gonna move. So let me string this up. Okay, we're all strung up. Everything stayed in place. We'll remove the tape and the eraser. Boom. Okay, welcome back to the underground lair. I thought I was filming, but I wasn't. Set overnight, and I brought it up. It was about a ½ cent off across the board, so the strings are pretty well stretched in. And I readjusted the string height to, it's supposed to be, I was incorrect earlier, 5/64 measured here at the neck joint, and 4/64 on the high E at the neck joint in playing position. So we adjusted all that. There's no string buzz. The first fret's playable. The fret is, we thought the fret may have been too high or the nut cut too low. None of those are the case. The measurements are right. The last thing we have to do, so we have new strings. We have, I also checked intonation. The only thing I had to touch from the original factory setting was the A string was a little bit flat, so I had to make about a 3/4 of a turn on the screw to move the saddle that way. So that is, it's intonated. Oh, the other thing, should probably point out, every time you change strings, because it's not always that often, but you see all the danglies, you never take those off until you're done. But every time I change the strings for a customer or for my own guitars, I will snug these nuts down on the tuning machines, just because with the wood moving and changing with the seasons, shrinking and swelling, like you know, as an example, we had to take the back bow out of the neck. By the same token, I got about a 1/4 of a turn just to snug each one of these little nuts up. 10mm socket, not socket, but wrench. Should do that every time. Just snug that up, because it's, you know, like I said, wood changes, expands, contracts. Also make sure that the strap buttons are snugged up. But otherwise, the only thing I have to do yet is string height. So I know the neck pickup is way too deep. So we are going to, of course we're going to measure it first. But I know it has to come up. So you get these little things here. Let's get them in a, they're not Allen keys, they're just round brass, they're not magnetic. And you take for a guitar, you take the second thickest and the second thinnest, and those are your measuring. So you hold down at the body joint and you run the piece over the between the pole and the string, and as we thought, the pickup is kind of cranked down in there. Let me see if we can get this up. Oh, there we go, it's released. Get ourselves a starting point. And that's too high. Still too high. Perfect. And then you take your thinner, or second thinnest, and you go over here on to the lowy side, and that's, I nailed that. Then you come back here to the bridge, you do the same thing, the second thickest. Right in there, it's too high. So we're going to turn that a little bit to get it down in there. Also, the screw for the pickup height, if you don't wipe your guitar down when you're done playing, they rust out. And it becomes harder to work on the shop whenever they're all full of rust and DNA and whatnot. Okay, so that's right. Come over here with the second thinnest, and it's too high, so too low or too high. We're going to drop it down just to split the difference. That'll probably do it. Nope, just a little bit more. Too low. And we got it. Alright, so starting at the top, we put some of the Uncle Mac's guitar grease in the nut slots. We tightened the nuts, the little nuts on the bushings of the tuners. We polished the frets. We adjusted the height of our pickups. We did intonation. We have a new set of 9s on here. The last thing we want to check on the Les Paul, or any of the bridges, or any of the guitars that have the stop tail tune-o-matic bridge, is you look down the bridge and you make sure that there is clearance between the back of the bridge and where the string passes over it. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call this done. I can't wait to play this through my big amp. And you guys have a great day. Be good to each other. And wherever you are, make someone's day. Buy them ice cream. Do something nice. Until then, we'll see you again here at Stringman Guitars. Please subscribe. Check us out on Facebook.